One of the things that really makes me passionate about my job in Centretown is I went through homelessness.
We want to show people that we're doing good. Sometimes we're not.
You're having this very political meeting standing on a corner of a street and someone's twerking and dancing right next to you.
This is one of the most interesting talks right now. You're combining the well-being, the mental health. Also, you have a big corporate side.
Yes.
When you were a new leader, what is one mistake that you've had and what did it teach you?
I might get in trouble for saying this.
Today on Thought Leadership Uncovered, we're debunking one of the biggest myths one might ever think of. So, everyone thinks Ottawa is boring. Ottawa is not boring. That's the biggest title. And we're having a great conversation with the person who's actually a key player in that change of scenery we've been seeing in Ottawa. So, I'm hosting Sabrina Lemay, which is basically the executive director of the Centretown. And she's going to tell us today about all the activities and all the stuff that's happening in downtown. And you might know all of them or not, but today, definitely you're going to be knowing about them. Sabrina, welcome on board.
Thanks for having me.
How are you?
I'm having a great time, great day. I just came back from the Canadian Urban Art Institute City Building Summit. So that's people all around Canada that come together to learn about what's happening in our city, what's happening in our downtown, what can we do? And thought leaders are all there. It's an incredible day.
So basically they were all there. Was it in Ottawa or is it?
Yeah, it was at the Rogers Centre.
Nice.
Yeah.
And is it on a Canadian level or on
Yes, Canadian level, and it happens every year.
Nice.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It was a great day.
Okay, before jumping into that part, I want to ask one of the famous questions we have on this podcast. So, who is Sabrina?
You know, that's such an interesting question because anytime I'm asked that, I feel like I wear multiple hats because I have my personal business and then I have my BIA position. And who is Sabrina? I feel like we have to tie ourselves to an identity. And so if we go to my personal business, I'm like, I just am. I don't have an identity. And that really kind of encompasses my business and how I look at myself. But then if I was to connect to an identity, I'm spiritual. I love the outdoors. I work with the BIA. I love community. I love culture. I love people, connection, family. Yeah, there's so many layers to who we are.
Actually, funny enough, I'm going to tell you the story and, we'll think if we'll keep it on record or not. My initial question, which I was saying the team, because you're right, there's always, we always feel the need that we need to be tied to
an identity.
My initial question, which I was trying to suggest to my team, I wanted to ask people, who are you when no one's watching? But they thought that was creepy.
No, because I think that's really important because
Exactly.
who you are when no one is watching is who you truly are.
100%. Because let's say the other day I was, walking my dog. And then it got me thinking. So let's say definitely, you have to collect, the stuff, that your dog does. And I was looking around. So I was like, even if no one's watching, I'm going to still do it.
You're still doing it, yeah.
And then, so it makes you think, so my behavior, if it's real, I'll still do it no matter what, whether someone's watching or not.
Behind closed doors.
Exactly. Even, for example, if you enjoy what you do, and regardless of the money, whether it makes tons of money or it doesn't make money, you're going to keep doing it. So if no one's watching, or let's say if no one's clapping for you, are you going to keep doing it or not? So let's ask you the question.
Yeah, I think it's a really beautiful question. And also, do you know who Wayne Dyer is?
I believe I've read, I think.
Yeah, he has books and he says something and it's, if you are what you do, when you don't,
I've read the sentence.
You aren't. And I love that because we tie ourselves to these identities. And though I say, yeah, I like fitness, I like, outdoors, all these things, I'm very well aware that in here, it just is. And not to get too tied to the identity that I have because, if something ever happens and you lose that,
100%.
Then who are you?
Correct.
Which goes back to who are you behind closed doors also, because that is your truth, your absolute truth.
100%.
Yeah.
Perfect. I'm going to bring back the question, all because of you. It makes you think. So let me think. So going back to Sabrina, so from yoga to a nutritionist to an executive director in Centretown. So how did all this combine?
My journey has been beautiful. A lot of my soul work is my business, and I think that really helps me become relatable to the BIA. So prior to working with the BIA, I had my own business as journey coaching, yoga instructor at retirement homes,
Nice.
mental health advocacy at the Royal Ottawa, doing speaking engagements, working with youth, still run that business. And previous to that, I was working with a non-for-profit organization for type 1 diabetes. So
Wow.
everything's always been acts of service and giving back to community. And then this opportunity with the BIA opened up, and it was like, hey, do you want to be the assistant director? So I was for quite some time, and now I've been executive director for 2 years. So it kind of just combines, and because I'm passionate about what I do, I don't really feel like I work a day in my life.
Right.
So it's easy to kind of keep running my business while doing the BIA. I think they complement each other quite well.
Nice. If someone right now, let's say you happen to be in a conversation, and someone who has no idea about the BIA or Centretown or about anything, asks you, so what do you guys do?
You know, we speak on behalf of the members. We are the voice of the members. And what are the members? The businesses.
Mhm.
So, what happens is businesses within a certain district come together and they say, we want a BIA. We want to put some of our dollars, our tax dollars, our levy towards a BIA to help us elevate the area,
Wow.
help people know what's happening down here, help us market the businesses. When it comes to beautification, planters, banners, benches. And that's when you know you're in a BIA because
Yeah,
you'll
yeah.
see banners, planters, nice
Wow.
benches. You could tell, oh, somebody's taking care of this area.
Hmm.
In addition to that, public realm assets, garbage cans. Hey, are these rusted? Do these need to be changed? Lighting. Not only that, tourism. Why do people want to
Interesting.
come to this area? So, major events, festivals that take place. And then, even from a higher level advocacy, when we're looking at the unhoused and the challenges within the area, who's representing so that we can start to see change within that scope, that area.
Actually, that's super interesting because I now that you mentioned it, now I can see the things that I think there's one also in Westboro
Yeah,
probably
there's 18 BIAs in
because I see the
Ottawa.
flags and
Yep.
like, and I was like, and at some point, wow, I love this because at some point I was wondering, is this municipality work? Is it community work? Is
So
it?
we are considered a not-for-profit and we are not funded by the city, although they support us,
Uh-huh.
but we're key players. And the reason one of the things I say is it is so important to know our city is made up of so many great things,
Yeah,
but so much of it comes from small business because an area is so beautiful because of that small business, because
exactly.
they're putting those dollars towards an organization to help elevate. So thank you, small businesses, because you're making our city great.
Correct. But then, so let's map it together. So a like a group of people, let's say they decide they want to,
Businesses.
yeah, the group of businesses, they decide they want to make the area nice. And then, so how does the process happen?
So they would decide they want to create a BIA, and that would go to the city, and the city would help map it out.
And BIA is an acronym of
Business Improvement Association.
business. Okay, perfect.
And so the city would take a look at like the scope, where, size, like for example, our BIA is expanding into next year. So our area is going to become larger. And then what happens is there's a toll, and then the city helps determine how much of their tax dollars goes towards creating this BIA. The
Wow.
smaller you are, obviously less dollars. Depending where you are, the larger the building, the more tax dollars that go towards it. So every BIA has a different budget based on their area and a needs assessment.
Wow. And then, so how does so between you guys and the municipality? So there's
We
lots of
work very closely
exactly.
together.
It's a
Yep.
crosswork because eventually, but I'm one of the people that actually I whenever you see something good in Westboro, I was like, wow, the municipality is doing some great work, and now I'm gonna
You're
say
like
no.
the BIA.
Exactly.
Yes.
So I was like, interesting.
But, we do get a lot of grants opportunities from the city.
Government or like, is it on a federal level or national?
Often both.
Okay.
And then what's amazing, especially now after the pandemic and the convoy that happened in our city has been so great when it comes to like, let's revitalize our whole city, specifically downtown. We've had so much support. So now you have the BIAs coming together, the city coming together from all different departments, the
Nice.
mayor's office, the councilor, our businesses, everybody coming together to truly help elevate our downtown and our city as a whole, because we know if our downtown is thriving, our city is thriving
Exactly.
because of tourism, of course.
Because it's actually it's quite interesting. I've traveled a lot. I've seen many downtowns. I've seen many cities, whether in Canada or US or Gulf, Arab countries, Europe and such, there's a certain when I landed the first time in Ottawa in downtown, you feel it's different. I'm saying like it's different in a way that you might always think that downtown is the kind of like the busy the
Hmm.
tall. Yes, we have tall buildings. It is busy, but it has some kind of a charm which you don't see it anywhere else.
Yeah, and what I love about our downtown is it's quite vast, right?
Yeah,
From Rio into Centretown, to the market, to Spark Street, to the new downtown BIA. Like every time you're in a different area, it's almost like its own little district, its own little
exactly.
feeling that you get to experience all in one day because you can walk to all of them.
Actually, it's funny enough. It's like a because I keep joking with my friends. It's like why I love living in Ottawa, and especially coming to downtown. You still can find a place to park and be in downtown.
Yep.
It's not like, it's like it is a downtown, but with a town feeling.
Yes.
So maybe this is like a kind of like a, it's, I'm telling you, there's something magical about the city. And now I just learned something which is crazy about, the BIAs and such.
Now you're going to be looking for them everywhere.
Exactly. But so how can you ensure the sustainability of work across the years, between, let's say, you guys have like a kind of a 10-year plan?
Yeah, so right now we're actually in the process of creating a 5-year plan,
Like,
and just like the scope of work, what is needed. Previously within Centertown, and Centertown has gone through many, many challenges, and we're in the process of revitalizing, which is incredible. We used to do major festivals like the Glow Fair Festival, street festivals, large events, and we recognized we no longer need that because of the challenges we saw with the mental health. Centertown kind of lost a bit of its charm in terms of like feeling enchanted. The Glebe is its own BIA. When you're in the Glebe, you're enchanted on Christmas, right? Think about walking in the wintertime down the Glebe. You don't have to shop. All the stores, everything
yeah,
just feels so incredible. And then you'd come to Centertown and there was just a different feeling. Still amazing because Centertown is like be who you are, art, culture, your authenticity. Like there's so much there. It's very eclectic in nature. But we wanted to create a place where it was enchanting again. So we kind of put a hold on some of the major events, focusing on our businesses and saying like, let's revitalize this whole area. So when people are down here, they know this is the art district. They know that they feel a certain kind of way, and they know there's never any judgment. There's not a certain stigma when you're
nice.
in Centertown.
Because even, I'll like it makes you think, because Ottawa is the capital. You have the parliament. You have
Yep.
like it's very much political and government, and you have all those government buildings. It's very interesting to see the artsy and the fun side, which is like somewhere in the
Right into it all. Yes. And I
exactly.
think that's the beauty of it all because, I mean, why don't you tell me, who are you? How do you describe yourself?
Well, for me, I'm a I'm a like a bun. It's between energies and marketing and entrepreneur. Like it's like a mix of
Multidimensional.
100%.
And that's what our city is, multidimensional. We
Wow,
as
that's a very
humans are multidimensional. We're not one thing, we're not one way, and one day you feel one way, the next year not. And I think that's our city. We're all parts, and that's why it's magical.
it's a beautiful analogy because I'll tell you why. Because earlier today I was sitting with like a top level executive, and we were talking, high level strategy, like a 10-year plan, thought leadership and such. It was typical corporate talks. And then the second, like, a couple of hours later, I'm, sitting with my daughter and then doing silly faces, and then you're like doing,
You
doing
you went from what, and that's like me with my business, right?
exactly.
One minute I'm like this hippie and like wellness and mental health, and then the next I'm putting on a dress suit and we're talking about the city and politics and business. And again, like that's what keeps life interesting. All parts.
True. Wow, love that. I think there's a really good question which I don't want to miss. Before we talk more about Centertown. So, was there a moment where you realized that helping communities was how did you realize that this is your passion?
It's interesting that you asked that. So since I'm like 10 years old, I was raking,
That was like a couple of years back, no?
yeah, like when I was 10. Right. I don't look any different. I would like love to clean up the neighborhood, and like clean up garbage, and just it was in me from a very young age. One of the things that really makes me passionate about my job in Centertown is I went through homelessness
Oh,
when I was young.
wow.
And that has really changed a lot for me from an empathetic standpoint. My family had been evicted from their home, and I was working 3 jobs
Wow.
and living in my car. And you wouldn't know that I was living in my car and I was serving people and helping. And that, from a passionate standpoint, when I work in Centretown and I see the unhoused and the challenges that people go through and the importance of community and the importance of non-judgment and empathy, has changed everything for me, because you can't judge a book by its cover. You never know why someone is living the life that they're living. And so it instills even more passion into the things I do, from my business to the BIA, and how they kind of come together, and how you can go through that. And I find, like, you can have a successful career.
Correct.
Your past does not limit you. And
doesn't
in fact, it
define
could
where you're
drive
heading.
you.
100%. Because I think many people they miss that part, because we tend to have like we all have backgrounds, we all have stories, we are the outcome, or we are the byproduct of every single thing that we went through to
Yes.
make us here where we are. A couple of years back, I was doing typical corporate jobs, and then like spending all my money being like, let's say, silly, doing those random parties and such. But then like something happens in life, it's a slap, like
Yeah.
for me it was actually also a slap, like I thought my ego was too big, and then something,
Life is like, wait a minute.
hold on, hold
Yeah.
my beer, and then
Yes.
and then also I had a couple of months where I had no idea, I had no job, I had no savings, I had no, thank God I have a good I have an amazing support system around me. And then I had a turnaround, and then right now I'm responsible because of the things that I went through, which you're absolutely spot on. Like, if whatever we did before, if we decide to change it right now, we can do it. No one's holding us back on that.
One of the greatest gifts I think humans have is choice. Choice, the opportunity to make change and move in a different direction. We are not stuck in one place. We're not a tree. We can make choices and change. And I think that more often than not, the things that have happened for us, not to us, right?
Wow.
Happened for us, not to us, and we can create a beautiful life. So
Nice.
yeah. So what helps me with my passion and community is, it was in me, and then I've gone through adversity that continues to drive me forward, and I think it helps me be really good at what I do because I'm so passionate from a heart standpoint.
Actually, you just answered the question, which was coming next. It was there any challenge in the past that made you do that? And you just said it. And but what about right now? So right now, when you wake up in the morning, what's your main drive?
Helping people. I'm up
Nice.
at 4 a.m. and it's like, who am I helping today? What am I doing? And I think that's the thing. We have become a society that is me, I. Selfies and photos and social media and all about self. And we forget that life has been a collective community of giving and wholeness and oneness and service. And even if we look at it from like a mental health perspective, like addiction, they say that recovery is not actually abstinence, it's community. Community and service and helping. And so what drives me every day is, who am I going to help? Who am I going to meet? What is going to happen? What is going to change? Whether that be from businesses to my own business to downtown to our city.
Nice. Actually, very funny that you mentioned that as well. Because yeah, people are busy with the when you scroll on social, we all scroll on social media, and
Yes.
we see different things. We have weird feeds, we have interesting feeds. You see different things, and at some point you're right. People are busy with themselves. Me. My photos that
You
I
get
look good.
lost.
And the funny part, it's called social media. It's supposed to be social.
Yeah.
Not about, if you want your own photos, just put them somewhere in your home.
Yes.
It became a race of who looks better on camera.
So much comparison and so
Exactly.
much filter, and we don't know what's real anymore.
Very rare are the people that they come up and say, I failed, I'm upset, I need 1, 2, 3. Most of the stuff, even people, if they are failing and they're upset, they're just hiding it because maybe we became very much judgmental about that.
It's so interesting because I recently posted on my social media page because I had gone through some grief in the last year and a half.
Sorry.
And I posted, I'm a little bit tired of the filtered life. Here's some unfiltered things that I went through during my grief.
Wow.
Showed like some anger moments, showed like I'm frozen just sitting there, showed the crying. Because again, what we see online more often than not is
Polished.
journaling and meditation through your grief. I'm sorry, when you're going through, you don't always have access to that. And so I'm really trying to live by what I truly believe our world needs, not only through, again, like the BIA or through my business and through my person. Like, we need more connection like this.
How was it, let's say, when you posted the unfiltered? How was your community's reaction? Or
I got a lot of private messages. And, even when I did that, I always say there's like a bit of like a vulnerability hangover.
Yeah.
You post it and you're like, holy shit. Like, why did I do that? Because, especially as being a leader for my clients,
100%.
or, if people from the BIA see that, how are they going to view me? What are they going to think? Is she capable of helping me?
Correct.
Actually, I had people message me being like, oh my God, thank you so much. You made me feel like I can do this now.
Wow.
I feel safe. So many people messaged me and I was like, well, I guess we're going to continue.
I love that what you mentioned, because so with my team, there's like a when you and you would know it, when you manage people, when you're in a leadership position or management position, you hear everyone's struggles, you hear their personal stories,
Yes.
you hear their personal stuff, but no one even thinks that you have your own at the same time.
You know what? In the BIA with my team, we've restructured operationally as well when I came on as executive director. I'm really proud because before we start any team meeting, it's like, okay, how was your weekend? How are you personally doing? And how are you feeling about work? And I go last, but I always share. And I'm always open because I want them to be open with me too.
100%.
And we're a little family.
On this note, so I was talking to our HR director the other day. I was like, listen, like, this period, I'm just gonna tell you because I was like, listen, I'm trying. Actually, it was this conversation. I was having another conversation with my like trainer back in Lebanon. Is like, are you working out? I was like, dude, I'm trying to run a company, be a good husband, be a good father, and then work out and then stay sane. Well, and then more of listening to my team's problems, my family's problems, my wife's, like everyone's problems,
Yeah.
and then like pushing everything personal on the side. When you're in corporate, when they come and complain to you and talk to you, they kind of forget that there's a human listening to that part, and
Yes.
who's actually maybe
Who's going to carry that with them?
100% and dealing with things which are unimaginable. And it's kind of interesting that what you mentioned, that yes, we tend to be scared to be vulnerable because they're gonna think, oh, can they still do what they need when it needs to be done? Are they gonna hold it against me at some point? What's gonna happen? But yeah, I think we got here because of the whole. We became in a race where we want to show people that we're doing good, but sometimes we're not.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of fear there in showing our authentic selves. And it's like, why are we afraid to show our true self? And what I love about fear is like, fear is courage becoming known. And courage is being able to show who you truly are. And when you're courageous and vulnerable, you create the most magical connections.
Correct.
When I was going through my grief, I had booked a trip to Peru and I'm sitting in the travel agency. I just met the travel agent and we're both crying together. I was
Wow.
like, wow, you know why? Because I chose to show up vulnerable, share something. He shared something. He's crying about his loss. I'm crying about mine. And now I've just connected with a beautiful stranger because I chose vulnerability. And I think that really is what creates community and connection.
100%. Also, like, while you're talking, I remembered something 2 weeks ago. So I'm trying to have like a consistent workouts and such. So like, and again with the work, with the baby,
It's hard to manage
time
it all,
zones,
yeah.
all that. And then at some point, I was like, like I always keep thinking to myself, it's about only showing up. You might not do the best workout. It's
No,
just show up.
yeah.
So what I do, like, so every single time I go to work out, I post a story of my burned calories, whether they're up or they're down, it doesn't matter. Because for me, it's like I'm showing up to myself. And, I posted like a sentence under it. I was like, I had a million reasons to skip, but I still made it. Yes, it wasn't my best, but it was done,
You know what that's called? Aligned action. You
Nice.
know the life that you want, and so it doesn't matter. You're going to show up anyways, even if it's not your full best, because the action is aligned with your life, which is
100%.
like, and you're still leading.
Wow, I think it's very funny. This is one of the most interesting talks right now because you're combining the well-being, the mental health, and then also you have a big corporate side on
Yes.
on the side.
Yes.
Because in corporate we have to. They want to box us.
Oh, yeah.
This is an executive. This is X. This is a
I will
person.
not be boxed.
100%. Okay, so let's talk about Centertown. So what would you say? Like, so when you guys like Centertown is right now described everything but ordinary.
Yep.
Tell me more about that. How did it came up? What's the story? What's the overall?
I think it's really important to say Centertown is going through a major change, and it's not a secret, so I'm very open to share. But prior to me becoming the executive director, we were $500,000 in debt.
Wow.
There was
That was how long ago?
2 years ago.
Nice.
There was major challenge internally. We were just trying to keep our downtown core alive. And so when I took over the position, it was like, we need to rebuild this from the ground up. We had a new board of directors, and thank God, because the board of directors are business owners within
I know one of them.
Centertown. Who do you know?
Michael.
Oh, Michael's incredible.
I know.
Michael is incredible. He's our chair. And
He's amazing. He's a good friend.
so much passion he has and creativity. And it's our board that truly helped create the vision and align us with where we're going. And so the challenges we had was like, we need to create a new space down here. We need to bring community together. We need to bring our membership together and create community within the businesses. And so why are we anything but ordinary? We're everything but ordinary because you will see the most random things in Centertown. You will see someone in a business suit beside a guy
You'll
driving,
see the prime minister walking around.
and then a guy driving down a motorcycle with this animal head on as a, like, you know what I mean? Like, or you're having this very political meeting standing on a corner of a street talking about pedestrianizing a street, and someone's twerking and dancing right next to you. And it's not strange in Centertown. You don't even bat an eye because
Wow.
it's Centertown. It's not ordinary, and you could be whoever you want to be.
I think I've never recalled any place in the world like that.
No, it's incredible. And I think it makes it feel like home for
Yeah,
people who are new here.
It's real.
Yes.
As we were saying, it looks like us. One day you're a corporate guy, the second day you're covered in mud, the third day you're dealing with a grief or dealing with a sad story.
100%.
This is beautiful. Like, so, but how do you guys make sure that like this is still in line with the overall picture of the city overall?
Well, I think we look at the fact that our downtown needs to change, and it does. We need more people downtown. We need more business downtown. We need more residents downtown. We need more homes downtown. There's a lot. And of course, we have a lot of mental health challenges that we're dealing with. So what we're doing now is we're aligning ourselves. We're working so closely with the public realm team at the City of Ottawa, economic development. Bloomberg has come in and given advice to our
Wow.
city and what we need to do. And so the whole area is being revitalized. And I know it's not something that anyone would necessarily notice if they're
Yeah.
walking down, but we've got new garbage cans, we've got new benches, we've got new
But,
bike
funny
racks.
enough, I noticed those. By the way, when I look at, I'll tell you what I noticed. So before, when summer was still there, there's like the bicycle lanes,
Yep.
which they put those, like like what do you call them?
Like the safety guards?
Yeah, the
Yep.
safety guards. And then once it started snowing, they removed them.
Yes.
I was like, I'm thinking there's someone's job to
To
actually
do this. Exactly. And so like the BIA advocates on what we need, and then the city helps implement it.
Wow.
And so, we've changed so many of the public realm assets itself. We just got new banners put up. They're double-sided banners, and we've worked with local artists to develop each banner so it's different and we're hiring
Nice.
locally. And that keeps the integrity of the area, from planters to cleaning up the street. Like, we have big plans even for next year with our clean team. Like, we have exciting things coming.
Wow.
And then we're partnering with the businesses on leveraging what they do best to bring events to Centertown. We are going to be sending out a media and press release that we are creating the first green space downtown. So we're creating a park in the middle of downtown
Nice.
in partnership with Morgard, who owns the property and is allowing us to help create that.
Wow.
So we're very excited. And this past summer, working with the city, we created what we call street seats, and we pedestrianized 3 streets and activated them all summer long. So there was community groups that could come,
I've
hang
seen
out.
them.
You probably have.
Yeah.
There was 3 of them. They were colorful. They were bright in our branded colors. Just trying to push the needle on what we can do down here and bring creative life.
Wow. Because like when you think about it, like really, like there's someone I think when we live in a place every single day, you kind of take them for granted, or when you see them, you don't think that there's actually a person or someone.
Doing yes.
And it's kind of it's very important to, like, I keep saying it to everyone at this moment right now. Every one of us is a media company, because let's say like you guys right now, like you can be doing so many things, but if it's not, like, out there, if it's not, if there's no story behind it, if there's no content behind it, people wouldn't know. Like, right now, it's easier for us to understand what's happening in Centretown, because I can follow 3-4 pages and understand, like, what's happening in Ottawa. Where 3 date nights, like, best date nights in Ottawa. I think now we have, was it the Omasaki chef? I think there's like a famous Japanese restaurant that's opened up. There's like things happening.
Lots happening. And, we have an incredible team in Centertown. Like, for the BIA, I've never had a stronger team. My marketing director,
Wow.
incredible. The way, like, we are not an association, we are a destination. And all the marketing she does is storytelling. So she's connecting to all the people out there, getting people to understand who is
Perfect.
in Centertown, right? And why come down here, so you actually know what's happening.
What would you guys want people to feel when they come to Centretown?
I want them to feel like themselves.
Nice.
Nothing else, where they just know I'm home, I can be me. That's it. And I think that it's hard to find that now, because there's so much pressure to be all the things, and
Right.
there's pressure outside, and then there's pressure inside. So if you can come to Centertown and just be, incredible.
Awesome. Perfect. So let's say, if we want to talk about, let's say, what would be the biggest challenge you guys are facing at the moment?
The mental health. The mental health, we need so much more support, and it's really challenging right now. Everybody is struggling when it comes to needing more staff, more dollars, whether we look at, and I'm not one to be able to speak to it entirely, but, the police division needs more officers and more funding. Our community associations need more funding. We need more housing. We need more support for the mental health, actually. And not only that, but, like, once we get those who have mental health and drug challenges into homes, what about the
Yeah.
aftercare? So that is the biggest challenge that I hear over and over
Wow.
from our businesses, because it is not uncommon to try and open up your business to see someone unhoused sitting there, or having to clean up needles or feces, or, and so even at the BIA, we've really hired a amazing clean team. So not only is the city cleaning our downtown, we have a company called Univer. They're helping clean.
Wow.
And then we at the BIA have also hired Operation Come Home, the youth, and we do the Centretown sweep. And we go out once a month and we
Nice.
clean up the neighborhood. The BIA goes out there, our members go out there, and we help clean it up, because that is the biggest challenge, the mental health and the cleanliness. We need to continue to be proactive in that area.
Sabrina, when you talk about mental health, is it the business owners? Is it employees? Is it the citizens?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the mental health for if our business owners go through so much, their employees go through so much, but it's actually the drug addiction on the streets right now. And it's not just our city, it's vast and wide,
It's everywhere.
everywhere. And actually at the City Building Summit that I was at today, homelessness has gone up in the last 2 years, 25%.
Crazy.
That's terrible. And we need more support and help. And so when I say mental health, is what we're seeing on the street, and the snowball effect, because if you're seeing that on the street, it's affecting the businesses, it's in fact affecting the employees,
100%.
it's affecting the property owners, landlords. Why do people want to open up business downtown? Why do people want to come downtown if that is what it is?
The thing is, it's and correct me if I'm wrong, because I was once a couple of months back. I was in the networking here in downtown, and then I forgot which building was it. It was, I think, very near, and I look across the street. There's like a huge building, which it seems it was emptied. I'm not sure if they're gonna tear it down or they're gonna remodel.
Yeah, so many of these buildings are being turned into homes, right?
Yeah,
Redevelopments,
good.
condos, home, and affordable housing. So I think that that's really positive.
Because I'll tell you why it affects me. Other than this one is actually a good story, but it's a good reason why it's empty. But when I walk in downtown, I see closed shops, or let's say like vacant shops. It makes me upset. It makes me think that, like, there has to be something which can be open here, and then, like, make sure that to have a great, let's say, to support the family, to, I don't know, like, any small business, something. I'm not talking about the big chains. I'm talking about this guy who would like to, let's say, who likes to have a car wash, or a guy that
The
likes
small
to,
mom and pop,
yeah,
yeah.
exactly, like a tailor, a bakery, X and Y. And I hope really, I really hope if we can, if this can turn around somehow later
Well,
on.
I think as much as there's a lot of challenge within Centertown, it can be bleak at times. I also say to people, there's never been a better time to invest in Centertown
Right.
because never has it felt as good as it has. And it is turning around. And the fact that the city is coming together. And, what was incredible about the Street Seats program that happened this year, the pedestrianized streets, is actually Michael Wallach saw this. I saw this, conversations that happened. Michael goes out his business, and there's a businessman in a suit eating. There's a family right there, and then there was someone unhoused. And it really shows you that the collective community comes together.
Yeah.
And people from the unhoused community, I think sometimes we think that it's only money that can help or food, but actually some of them came up to us and were like, we love the colors of these. Thank you.
Yeah.
Color helps people mentally. And a lot of our businesses get vandalized or, graffiti. We
Yeah.
thought for sure pedestrianizing these streets and putting these structures, they would get destroyed. Nothing. Nothing.
Wow.
Because it was respected and enjoyed by the entire community. And I think
Interesting.
that makes a huge difference, creating place.
I think actually I was gonna ask you a question, but I kind of answered it myself. Right now, if we wanna, let's say, if we wanna build downtown, what you guys are doing will make people believe in downtown. Hence, yes, it might not be right now. The outcome or the gratification is not gonna be right now, but it's gonna be. If we keep moving this way, we're gonna get there.
To be patient, and it's never just one thing, right? So the way I look at it, especially with the Street Seats program, reason to come downtown, enjoying downtown, being there, but behind the scenes, there's advocacy happening. You're enjoying this pedestrianized place, and maybe there's yoga happening or mixology. There was so much while the garbage cans are being changed. So there's a trust being established because all of a sudden you start to look around and this place is starting to look a little different than it used to. Oh, look at these banners. How beautiful. Artists did that. Look at these murals. Like so much
Nice.
to see. Yeah.
It's awesome. So if you want to think about, would you be able to share a story of any business that overcame, let's say, obstacles in Chinatown?
You know, I can't highlight a specific one because
Just
I will say right now, all of them. The resiliency of the ones that are still standing and don't give up every day after going through, and not that I want to keep bringing it up because I know people are tired, the pandemic and the convoy, and
I was
then
gonna say
federal
that.
workers not working downtown, the amount, some of them haven't recovered. They had traffic every lunch hour. The resiliency to push through that, to watch Centertown go from one place to the next and to stick it out, to believe in their area, to believe in their business, to believe in the community as a whole. Like I have goosebumps because they inspire me to work every day. They go to work, their entire life is in what they do. Every single cent, their passion, everything. That goes above anything. To
Wow.
still be around after everything and pushing through,
Were you here during COVID? Like, were
I
you?
was.
Because I wasn't in Ottawa, but they told me that Ottawa, it was hard on.
It was challenging, it was hard, and then the convoy, right? Like your entire downtown was taken by trucks and beeping, and we had residents, businesses that were saying that they had PTSD,
Oh.
20-year-olds that would get off the bus and get punched in the face. They didn't feel safe to walk to, like they needed people to walk them together. Like they went through so
I
much.
think actually Michael told me the story about the convoys. He told me it was insane. It was crazy.
It was the most challenging time for our businesses and residents because they are so much a part of Centertown as well. And that's why I say, like, if there's like a great story is the fact that they're still here and
Exactly.
pushing through because that is resiliency. That is also believing in something far greater than yourself or anything.
100%. But it's good that like, and I always talk to like my network about this. So you can, on your own, you can do so much, but when you know that there's, let's say, 15 other people that are trying to do the same thing, it makes you feel that you're not on your own. Like there's someone actually. Whenever you're just gonna like like a
We're all in it together.
100. If in a Slack, someone's gonna back you up. It's like, okay, I got you. Keep going. Keep going.
And this is the reason why our BIA is expanding, because after the pandemic, businesses that weren't a part of a BIA didn't have support. So Centretown was like, we don't care if you're not a part of our BIA, we're still going to support you.
Wow.
When there was grant opportunities, we'd hire a grant writer to help. We would be sending them emails every day about what to expect, what's happening,
Interesting.
really supporting. And that's the job of a BIA, where if you're a business and you're not a part of it, it's you just trying to figure out all this on your own. So it can feel
100%.
quite isolating. It's important to be community.
Exactly. So, Sabrina, if you're gonna think about, let's say, like I know starting a business is quite stressful and it's challenging. How do you guys show up for entrepreneurs and for people that are really trying to make a difference?
So like in terms of like how they could be successful in Centretown,
Yeah.
or well, if they open up a business in Centretown, we drop them off, like it's called an onboarding package, and we tell them everything that we could do for them. So from the marketing to videos to
Nice.
stories about who they are, why, and we just push it out there, from newsletters to drop-offs, like actual paper, old school, to social media. Of course, it's up to the business to help elevate themselves as well, but like, here's how to run an event in Centretown. How can we support you? Is there anything that you need? We have ambassadors, so businesses that are ambassadors. So like, example, our board members might go greet the new member, like really bringing
Nice.
them a part of the community.
And so, how do you guys can, let's say, like you guys would know when someone is opening up, or like the
Yep.
city would tell you that that there's
No,
some-
we know. So Adam, who's on our team, he's our economic development and community coordinator. And so he does a walk of Centretown every single day. He knows how many vacant
Wow.
spaces there are. He knows how many new businesses there are. And then we talk about it as a team. We then, as a team, go in, we greet them, we let them know who we are, what we could do. Because actually, someone might open up a business in Centretown and they had no idea they were a part of a
100%.
BIA. That's happened many times. I walk in, especially with international individuals who are new to the country. They're like, no, we don't want to. And it's like, no, you already are. Like,
you're there.
You're a part of this. And
Use it or not.
here's how we can help you. So I think there's like this educational component that really helps drive the success of what can be done.
So when you're saying that you guys are expanding, so what's the like? Is it geographically? Or?
Yeah, so currently our boundaries from Catherine to Wellington, so from about Parliament to the highway, and then it turns into the Glebe. And now we are going to be going up against Bay Street, so almost up to Chinatown, and Chinatown is its
Nice.
own BIA, and then bumping up against Elgin. So we're spanning outwards. So our
Wow.
district's going to get much larger, and then we could support that many more businesses. So we're
How
really
how
excited.
much can you guys still expand?
After that?
Yeah.
That's up to the city. So we usually hire a consultant. The consultant looks, and then it's like, this is what we're proposing. But what's incredible is many BIAs are expanding. So Spark Street used to be just Spark Street. And now they've expanded, they've rebranded, and they're called the Downtown BIA. Now, I don't know offhand exactly their demographic, but they bump up against us.
Oh, nice.
And so there's so much opportunity for BIAs to partner together and support and create this.
Actually, on this note, because I remember in the town hall, there's a huge map of Ottawa on the wall. You guys should have like a map, where
Where are all the BIAs?
exactly,
We should get the city to do that for sure.
100%. Okay, let's talk now about, let's say, so you guys are doing storytelling,
Yep.
and obviously it's helping. So it can make the community like very much stronger. What story do you see yourself telling about Centretown?
I think our resiliency story, right? Like where we were to where we are now, because it creates like the authentic side of us, the truth. But there's never just like one story. I think that there's so many. We were talking about it as a team this week. Okay, what we're going to be telling this year, and it's like we're meeting residents, we're meeting artists, we're meeting like everything in Centretown is a story. So
Nice.
it doesn't matter. We're showcasing animals. Like here's Jerry, yeah.
Well, but when you guys like, let's say, like when you're thinking about it, is there any, let's say, for example, bold idea that you guys had so far that really worked out really well? Like something that you guys like was out of the box. It was, I don't know, maybe some people challenged it. Maybe it was questioned.
I think everything we do is a bit bold. That's why we say everything but,
Yeah, exactly.
we had the Glow Fair Festival, and that would be the entire street. I should send you a photo of what that would look like. That was,
We'll put it on the on the.
it was so different DJ stages, Canadian artists. It was a free event, and that's what we really thrive on, is creating free events. We did a cold plunge event last year in the middle of
Nice.
February in partnership with Winterlude. I think the bold move that we're going to be making now is the change that you see and the pace that it's happening, the vibrancy. We're not following the same rules we used to in Ottawa. And why I say that that's bold is because we are a political city.
Exactly.
There's a lot of regulations. And if you talk to anyone within a BIA, they're going to say, lots of red tape. We've been trying to do this one change for 4 years. Well, what I could tell you after this summer was one thing that we wanted to see, which was the pedestrianization of the streets and creating place, happened in like 4 months.
Wow.
Like, it was fast.
What was the secret recipe? How come
The
it
secret
happened?
recipe was that the city recognizes that we need to make change. We need to make change. We need to revitalize downtown. The consulting with Bloomberg, we are making major changes. And so that is bold moves because we are trying things and we are not being afraid if it works out or not. And we're just seeing what happens so that we can make something happen, right? Like one of our business owners was a little bit nervous because we don't want to see more congregation or more challenges. And granted, that is a really, truly a true concern. But I said, if we do what we've always done, we're going to get what we've always got. We want to
Einstein.
push. We want to push the needle and just keep going. And bold ideas. So we have lots of ideas. I don't want to give them all away, but
No.
you'll see it. And that's why we say
Exactly.
these things are just going to pop up, and you're going to be like, oh my god. And one is creating the first downtown green space park because we don't have one downtown.
Correct.
That's bold. That's different. It's going to take a lot of work, and it's going to come in the spring.
Spring is coming. Wow.
It's coming in spring. You'll have to come to the grand opening.
Oh, well, consider me. I'm on. By the way, on your sentence, Einstein says this: doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result.
Insanity.
It's insanity. So let's talk about. Let's say, so when you walk around right now in Centretown, what is exactly one thing that when you look at you see? Yes, that's it. This is why we do it.
Now,
Yeah.
all the change that we've done.
Nice.
If I look at just last year, it didn't look like it did this year. I've been with the BIA for over 8 years, so I walk down and I'm like, yes. The way we talk internally as a team is like, this is your backyard. If you see something, you pick it up.
Fix it.
It doesn't matter what it is. But at the end of the day, like, anything we do is for the businesses. One smile on their face, I'm happy.
100%.
Knowing that they're thriving, knowing that sales are up. Like, this is why we do what we do. Everything we do is for our businesses, the residents of the area, and the community.
Do you guys keep it do they share with you, let's say, figures? Do you know if they're sales?
Yeah, we ask, and they're pretty open. Some
Nice.
people are more reserved, but,
Yeah, but,
they're open because they want business. What can I do
100%.
to help increase business? Yes.
What would you say is the most important lesson you've learned so far in doing this?
That's a good one because I've learned many lessons. You can't be afraid to try new things.
True.
You cannot be afraid to try new things. And I think that's one of the greatest lessons. And I know that doesn't seem so generic and it's not groundbreaking, but when you're a business and your life and your livelihood is on the line, there is so much reservation because there's so much fear. Can it get any worse? You're afraid to make change. You're afraid to do something. You cannot be afraid. And I think that is, yeah.
Awesome. Love this. Let's say if you have unlimited resources and unlimited time, what is one project that you'd love to see happening in Centretown?
Oh my God. I think it's really, there's not just one. That's why I say, oh my God. Because I'm like, let's do another festival. Let's create something big. Because I think, we want people to come down and have experiences and have memories. But the dollars, like I said, and I know it's going back to something really serious, but I'd love to see a program truly given unlimited resources to help our mental health on the street, the unhoused. This is what our city needs. This is what our country needs. This is what our world needs because we know that we're not alone in this. And so I know it seems generic, but I think you'll hear the same from everyone.
No, actually, on this point, you're right. Because technically, if you want to do a change and, following the chain that you followed. So if we do a change on a family level, we'll do a change on a bigger family level, we'll do a change on a let's say, building level, we'll do a change on a neighborhood level, we'll do a change on a town level, on a city level, on the country, on the world. But somehow we're getting stuck in this, if it's not for me, it's not my problem. And then it breaks the whole community part overall.
You know, um, I might get in trouble for saying this, but it's okay. Because I know not everyone's going to be happy.
All
But
yours.
like, even when I look at some of the federal workers that didn't want to go back to work, I understand. I think everyone should have flexibility.
Yeah.
I like working from home. I let my team work from home. But we also come into the office quite regularly.
100%.
I would say almost Monday to Friday. We are so concerned with the comfort of our own life, right? That we don't understand the ripple effect that it has. When we come to work, what are we doing?
We're making a difference.
We're feeding back into community. So it's interesting, and why I'm saying this and how it all relates is because one small change, it is a ripple effect. If I'm staying home because I want to do my laundry and do all these things, yes. However, while I'm staying at home doing my laundry, I'm like, costs are rising, things are happening, I'm watching the news and I'm panicking, not realizing that I'm contributing to that by the choices I'm making by staying
100%.
home. So we have to take enough time to realize the snowball effect that we can make by one small change.
Funny that you mentioned that. So let's say today, simply, I left my house, came in here. On the way, I picked up a coffee. I used the parking. I used X and Y.
Feeding back into the economy.
Exactly. It's just like a kind of a cycle. And it's the same thing, like rather than just, let's say, if my commute is only grocery home.
Or you're like, let's do this podcast virtually. I'm going to be at home.
By the way, I don't, I don't like doing podcasts virtually.
Yes.
It makes me feel like a Zoom call. Or,
Oh.
it's insane. So that's the thing. Many people miss that or miss seeing that. And I'm not sure what went wrong. Maybe COVID was a major hit for too many people. Some people, they pushed it to extremes.
Well, I say it was a mental health pandemic, right? Because
100%.
it really, everyone always thought they had control, and you quickly realize control is an illusion. You don't really have control, right?
Yeah. But there's life happens when you make plans.
Yes.
So so you wouldn't guess it. But let's say, what is the hardest part about being a leader, that people don't see from your side?
I can tell you because I experienced this. To show up authentically and say like, hey, I'm having a hard time, but to show up anyway. And to know when to take time for me. It's a fine balance because when you're a leader, you show up anyways, even when you're having a hard time, because you're leading and you're showing that no matter what, I'm here. But there is a fine line when to say, okay, I need a minute. I need to take a minute. So it's hard to balance that out. So I would say that's the challenge, but to show up isn't as hard when you're passionate about it, when you have purpose.
Actually, I can totally relate to that because you're absolutely right. I'm a workaholic person by nature.
I understand.
So I have to, for me, I always have to either think about something, research something, do something, or help someone do something.
Yep.
And many times I get the question, why are you doing this? What's the point of this? What's the point of
What is your why?
Yeah. Why are you convincing people? Just let's say like a day earlier, I was having this conversation with my wife. She was like, "Why are you convincing that person about changing her job?" It's like, because she needs it. Maybe she doesn't have the mind for it, but I'm pretty sure that if she does it, she's gonna be a happier person. Because for me as a person, it's either 0 or 100. I can never show up and be like
Give half.
Exactly. I'm the extreme extrovert, but sometimes yes, I need my time to recharge on my own. I need to fill my battery
Yep.
to be able to fill everyone's else,
I'd rather cancel something if I'm not going to show up authentically and give my all.
100%. And
Yeah.
sometimes there are some people which they have contagious energy, whether positive or negative.
Yep.
I do know that if I show up to my team with a negative energy, I'm gonna kill the vibe
Yeah.
majorly, and then it's gonna be a disaster.
Yep. And everyone will feel it.
Exactly.
Yep.
And then the HR is going to have big problems because everyone's going to be like, oh, what's
Yes.
wrong? What's wrong? So it's about just, being maybe realistic to ourselves that it's okay not to be okay. But sometimes we need a minute. But personally, I get stuck in this, like a train sometimes, moving. And then we tend to not realize that we need a minute. So how do you keep yourself in check that you need time for yourself?
I feel it. I've become an expert at feeling internally and listening to my body because of all the challenges I've gone through personally in my life. I think my adversity and things that I've gone through that, we didn't necessarily get into today, um, really changed the way I look at my life. And so my body screams, I know I have to listen. Do I sometimes bypass it? Yes, I do.
And sometimes
You
the
know,
problem is when you listen. I'm not gonna say it's too late. There, it's never too late. But sometimes,
sometimes it is a little,
yeah,
yeah.
it's like we passed this mark.
Yes, yes. So, like, how do I do that? I mean, I check in regularly. I listen to my body. I feel what it needs. I can know when I'm getting sick 2 weeks before I'm getting sick because I can feel it in my body. I'm
Wow.
very, very aware because I had to be. Um, but I'm like no stranger to pushing the limits either. I'm human at the end of the day, and we all are.
We
And
have to push the limit, because if the limit, because I always tell everyone, let's say around me, so if I want to stick by the limit, I would never be an entrepreneur.
no,
Go to school, go to
it's a
university,
blessing and a curse.
exactly, get a job, and then just do the same thing over and over,
Yes.
like, and blah blah blah, and that's it. Even, like, let's say, like, we need to challenge ourselves, to make ourselves, we have to stay on our toes the whole time.
100%. It's so funny because I know you interviewed Erin. I messaged Erin. I'm like, so are we going for coffee? She and I have gone for coffee a couple times and we've met. But she's like, yeah, what's on the agenda? I'm like, nothing. I just want to spend time with someone who's smarter than me. Like putting
Exactly.
ourselves in places, being authentic, pushing your limits, learning, forcing yourself, because there's so much to learn, right?
100%. That's, by the way, that's why, like, I keep personally, especially in Ottawa, I keep searching for those, let's say, like, it's not networking. It's mainly, for example, mayor's breakfast,
Yeah, who
or
can I meet? Who can I learn
exactly,
from?
and
How can I
even
expand?
regardless of what's happened beyond the conversation right now, I want to learn today.
Yes.
I learned that there's something called BA, and now every single time I'm gonna
You're
see
going to be like, BIA.
exactly. So I'm gonna thank you for that.
Yes.
So I think that's the challenge, to every single day be better, be smarter, be a person of value, and at least help someone do
Yes.
something in a different way.
Yes.
Let's say a couple of, like, quick questions right now. So you're a new leader. Let's say when you were a new leader, what is one mistake that you've had, and let's say what was the lesson, or what did it teach you?
I've made a lot of mistakes.
We all do.
Um,
And we still do. It's not like it doesn't stop.
I think sometimes I set really high expectations internally. I've had some of my team cry a little, and because of the pressure. And so I have to remind myself that not everyone operates the way I do. And that's really important. So now I've scaled back, and so I give the team a mental health day once a month. I was never a horrible boss. I mean, I just have high expectations.
On me, even.
Let's make change. I want to see things like let's go like. And not everybody operates that way, and it doesn't mean that they're not passionate. So I think that that's something as a leader to learn. Looking at our budget and having to rebuild our budget financially from the ground up. I even got messages from the finance department within the city saying, "Congratulations, look what you did."
Wow.
But it wasn't just me; it was the team, right? It was all of us. But like that, restructuring all the finances, creating things operationally, trying
job.
things, and it not working out. It was, and that it's really important to ask something. It's really important to follow the rules. Sometimes I like to do things and beg for forgiveness later.
Yeah.
Sometimes it bites me in the ass. So it is important to go through the departments because we do have purpose behind.
Yeah, but sometimes you have to.
I do. I like to wiggle, but sometimes I have to wiggle a little bit more left than right. Yeah.
But you're spot on, because I can technically, like, go through the same thing sometimes. I've learned how to at least try. 'Cause I have a high standards for myself
Yes.
personally, and on a personal level, on a corporate
And
level.
then it can bleed out.
Yeah, like, because even for me right now, I know I want to show up for for my wife, for my daughter. I want to show up for my team. I want to achieve my numbers. I wanna. We're building a new life in a new city. I want to be on top of that. It's like, like this and that, and then let's say when I'm traveling, I want to do this, I want to do that, and then sometimes we realize that, the person we have, maybe I have this level of energy, but not everyone has that.
Not everyone has that.
And it's not wrong. We just need to understand how to
work together.
Exactly.
And of course, like what I love is that the different energies offer different things that help create like the strong team, right? Yeah, no, 100%. This is why I drink decaf coffee because I have enough energy.
Oh, for me, it's only two. If I have the third, I'll be running
Oh
around.
my God. I will still have a regular coffee sometimes. And when I do, I'm like, oh God.
By the way,
Watch out, everyone.
I've learned, so like growing up, so I've changed 5 schools, 2 universities, because I'm a person who always have to I'm not gonna say like break the rules, like when growing up, but it's just like if it's a teacher, I like to reply back. I like to be
Yeah, you're
smart.
like, but why?
Yeah, exactly.
Why is that rule
I'm
even in place?
I'm hyperactive,
Yeah.
ADHD, and then I'm a communicative person. So definitely, going to a school which was mainly nuns, you get in trouble for
Yeah.
that because you're
You're
not
like, I'm
supposed.
going to challenge these
Exactly, you're
things.
not supposed to have an opinion. So like, but along the years, I've learned how to manage that. I used to use my energy in the wrong ways. Now it's kind of I have to tone it down and then use it in the right
Your
place.
magic power. And now you know how to use it.
Exactly.
It was like you were just
And
learning your
and tons of
power.
matcha and like a zillion
Yeah.
thing of like supplements just to make sure that like the focus is there. But yeah, it's I think this is the whole purpose of like growing up and growing, moving, becoming better, and then
Yeah, learning.
exactly. So a couple of two more questions. So tell me about a moment when you were gonna almost give up, and what kept you going?
In general or BIA?
You can have two answers.
Um, okay. So I used to do speaking engagements at the Royal Ottawa, and I would tell my mental health journey and the challenges I went through, where I almost gave up multiple times. And one day I was like, you know what? I'm going to stop doing these speaking engagements that I'd be invited to do because, like, am I just like living the story over and over? Like, what's the purpose? And I went up there and I had just said that. Go up there, I do my speech, and then it's to the youth. So different high schools would come together, and it was for the Do It for Darren program and suicide prevention, etc.
Wow.
And I get off stage, and this young girl comes up to me, and she grabs my hand, and she's crying, and she says, "Thank you for sharing your story. I thought I was
Wow.
going crazy. I didn't know what was wrong with me. Because of you, I'm going to go talk to my mom and dad tonight." And I have goosebumps again because I was like,
Same.
well,
Here's your
I'm
answer.
not giving up. So I think sometimes universe provides you little
signs.
signs where you're like, not today. And then for BIA, I would say there's never been a moment where I've wanted to give up, but there's been moments where you're like, how are we going to do this? And then you just look at that greater purpose.
Yeah, exactly. Wow, love that. What is one advice you would give to someone that wants to make a real difference in their community?
This is so interesting because, like, I think you can make a difference just by, like, the reason you're saying, like, the reason I say this is really interesting is because something I do, if I go and get a coffee and the barista's in a bad mood and I see it, I'll be like, thank you. And I look them in the eyes. I'll be like, you really have beautiful hair. Just to like get them to smile or give them a compliment. So I think that sometimes we overthink what we need to do to make difference and what we need to do to make purpose or change. Your life is purpose. Your life is change. You are on the right path. And so you just saying hi to somebody is making change. It's not as big as you think it has to be, and you've already made a difference.
Wow, I love this. I'll tell you why, because I've always had debates with my friends, or let's say different people than usually when they're with me. I if there's no person to talk to, I'll talk to myself.
Yes.
So when I'm sometimes walking around, I tend to joke randomly with people when I'm walking, or let's say or whether a barista, or because for me, or even the cashier, because for me, like, I think about it, okay, this person has been standing on their feet for the past 6-7 hours.
Yes.
And yes, he's not gonna remember, or she's gonna remember who I am. But if in those 10-15 seconds I create a reason for her to laugh,
Make a small impact.
exactly, it's gonna make a difference. And for me, it gives me joy, and I always end up laughing myself, and then walking out.
Yes.
Because even, let's say, noticing, I started, let's say, even thank you Tyler, or thank you John, or X, because they feel like
It's personal. Yeah.
100%. And it's kind of, like, or let's say one thing I do, it, especially here in Ottawa, it's very funny. When I'm walking, let's say downtown, I see people, let's say, taking photos next to either the Ottawa sign and such. I tend to like photobomb them, just
You
stand
jump
up.
in,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
and
just
make them laugh.
$100%.
100%.
We're humans, we're kind of
And we take life too seriously, and we forget
exactly
a part of life is just like have fun. We forget to have fun.
a funny
And maybe
story.
that's why people say Ottawa's not fun. I think maybe sometimes we forget to have fun.
Exactly.
Yes.
I was actually one of very funny. I'm not gonna say who's the person, but one of the major technology companies. I was talking to the CEO, and then I was like, "I live in Ottawa." He's like, "Are you sure?" I was like, "Yeah." I was like, Aren't you too? You're too loud and too hyperactive for that."
Yeah.
He was like, "You know what? Maybe the city needs you."
We need more of you.
No, actually, it's actually I need Ottawa as much as it does need me, because it's kind of it's a perfect combination.
The truth is that I think we all have this inside of us. We're just too afraid to let it
100
out. We have this inner child and this energy, and
We
it's
grow
like,
up, we stop dreaming because we grow up, or we grow up because we stop dreaming.
yes,
So
and then we get conformed to like how we think we're supposed to be, and like in this box, and it's like just be, and you're making a huge difference.
exactly. One funny story before the last question, because I just remembered right now. So once I was in Model UN, so it's like a United Nation for youth and such. And once, back in university, there like we were having like with this high level VIP person. She's like a top level in the politics and such, and she's coming to shake hands with us, and then so we can introduce her to the program. Sadly, like for her, she had the flu probably that day. And then she's walking in to shake our hands, and then she gets to me. She gets to it's my turn, and then she sneezes. She's like, "Achoo!" So and then I'm standing there, and then out of joke, like out of as a joke, I just did this, and she's like, oh my God, I'm sorry." I was like, "No, no, no, I'm not."
I'm just joking. Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, it's kind of like if I look back, well, I think I was stupid doing that, but it made me laugh, and it made her laugh, and then just
Yeah, but that's the thing. Don't be afraid to be silly, right? And invoke joy. Yeah.
perfect. All right. So let's say I'm gonna split this question on both sides. What's next for Centretown, and what's next for Sabrina?
What isn't next for Centretown? And like I said, next year, well, we're expanding. We're having the park. We're creating a new clean team, which is going to be very visible. We're doing the street seats program again. Like, I think that the way people saw Centretown 2 years ago is not going to remotely look the
Wow.
same next year. Lots of surprises, and the only way you could find out is if you come to Centretown. So I
100%.
hope that gives people incentive to come feel and experience their downtown, and most importantly, like, you get to be you.
100%. Perfect. And what's next for you?
I'm writing a book.
No way.
I'm writing a book.
How far?
I'm not, well, I don't know. We'll see. I had a publishing company be like, "Can you do it in a year?" And I'm like, "No." Because it's really on like the human psyche and our minds and how we kind of get stuck in a certain way. And as we get older, we kind of have to look at our life and the conditioning and what serves us and why do we have these beliefs and who are we truly and connecting to our truth. So what's next for me? I mean, I'm writing a book. I'm still doing my business. I don't think that's going to end. Leaning into poetry and spoken word, like just having a good time and letting my creative energy flow.
Wow, love it. Sabrina, like I have no idea how the time passed.
It goes fast.
Exactly. And I'm super happy about it. Thank you for a great conversation. And I'm sure the listeners, will enjoy every single minute
I
of it.
am so grateful to you because what you're doing for the community and bringing people together and thought leaders is exactly what our city needs. And I think your energy is infectious and that it's going to continue to create more conversations and more importantly, create change. So thank you.
Thank you for that. Just made my day. Guys, if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. You've heard this conversation. You're going to see it also in snippets and, like much more to come. Sabrina, thank you for a great conversation. I feel there's so many things which we haven't covered yet.
I know. There's like
but
so much more.
I promise you, they're gonna be like a second part.
This is only the beginning for you.
Exactly.
Lots to come.
Thank you again, and we'll stay tuned for more information and more updates, and we'll talk soon. Thank you.